For this question, we need to be able to understand the client-server model for computers talking to each other. So we need to be able to talk about and understand speed and trust. So the client-server model means that you often have a server that's hidden away somewhere, and then lots of clients, sometimes 2 or 3, but sometimes hundreds, maybe even millions of clients. Each of those clients ask for information from the server and sometimes send information back to the server. Okay, so the client computers are often like tablets or phones or laptops or desktops, and the server computers don't usually have screens. They're just really powerful computers hidden away in a cabinet somewhere. That's not helpful. Okay, so if you're updating a database, does that happen on the client or on the server? Well, let's imagine that we're running a shop like Amazon or something. So on the server, you're going to keep track of all of the orders that have ever been placed. You need to keep track of all of the user's details. And on the client, it's just going to be someone sat ordering a present for their best friend or something. So updating the database is going to store all of the orders. So it's, that database is going to be located on the server. So for speed, you'd want the server to be changing that database because it only has to change the database in the server itself. It would be much slower if the client had to try and update the database on the server. Also for security, if this database is storing personal details like usernames, passwords, addresses, anything like that, then you need to be able to trust that the information you put into that database is accurate and secure. So you can trust everything on the server, but you can't trust any of these clients. Any one of them could be either someone who doesn't know what they're doing, or someone that's a hacker and is trying to take over your database or change stuff. So for security reasons, you don't want your clients to get anywhere near your database. So for both speed and security, your server is the one that updates the database. Validation of user fields. Validation means checking to see it's sensible. User fields is the data that users type in. So a user field might be the number of boxes of chocolate that somebody is ordering from Amazon. So validation will probably happen on the client because when you're ordering something online, your web browser often checks to see if you've typed in something sensible. Like it will tell you if you've typed in an invalid email address or something like that. But also, it's essential that your server checks to see if the client has submitted sensible values because lots of hacking occurs when hackers send malicious data to the server. So the server has to make sure that the information it puts into its databases is sensible. So validation of user fields would happen both the client end and the server end. Checking username and password. If you did this on the client end, so when the user was logging into the shop, if it all happened on the client end, then it would be possible for the client to reverse engineer that to be able to look at the source code and hack in. So it's a really bad idea to do checking of usernames and passwords on the client because it encourages people to hack in and change and make your software insecure. All of the checking of usernames and passwords should happen on your server where nobody else can see the source code that runs on that server. So when you've got questions like this, you need to understand both speed and security. Basically, you want to be able to trust everything on that server and lock it down and make sure the only information that gets there is stuff that you've checked and validated. Whereas you want the client to be able to run stuff really nice and quickly. So anything to do with graphics for the user should run on the client. Anything to do with updating data would run much faster on the server.